Welcome back, Hex Tribe. Today I'm going to tell you why the utility argument sucks when it comes to cryptocurrency. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of people think that in order for a cryptocurrency to have any value at all, a lot of people just revert back to this, oh, what's the utility? What's the utility? And they can't see the obvious utility that's often right in front of them, which is the utility that most successful cryptocurrencies inherently have already today. Things like censorship resistance and self-sovereignty. You see a lot of new crypto investors when they come into crypto and they're wondering what cryptos to invest in, they're wondering what makes a coin pump. They always fall into this trap of utility and they obsess over this word utility, which they often take to mean, some highly specialized, highly specific thing that a coin can do that's going to automatically and magically just lead to the price pumping. So stick around till the end because I'm going to tell you why that's all garbage and what actually makes a coin pump so you can actually make better investing decisions when you're choosing a cryptocurrency. So if you're interested in actually making more money in crypto, stick around till the end. It's a very simple concept that I want to explain to you. See, every coin has two components to its value. They've got the speculation component to the value of the coin and the utility value to the value of the coin. Now the speculation component is simply how high do people think this coin is going to go in the future? How high do they speculate that they can sell it at a later date? Because let's not beat around the bush here. We're all here to make money. But what a lot of people like to do is they cover up their greed. They cover up the fact that we're all just here to make money. And as a nice side effect, we get financial freedom and a parallel financial system. All these great side effects happen from owning your own money, owning your own keys, and not having to go through a corrupt middleman. So there's always this speculation component. And that, in the early days of a cryptocurrency, makes up the vast majority of the value of the cryptocurrency. And you see, the utility of a cryptocurrency is often only truly realized over time. Bitcoin's a perfect example. Bitcoin was launched as peer-to-peer digital cash. That was supposed to be its utility, which it never even achieved. But it was entirely speculative at the beginning. People were speculating that, hey, there's something to this. We're not quite sure what it is yet. We need to kind of discover why Bitcoin has any value. And over the next 12 or 13 years, people finally figured out that Bitcoin's real value is storing wealth. It's a store of value. Not to mention, it does a lot of things better in terms of money that traditional money just can't do. I mean, you can take your Bitcoin anywhere, right? You can take it across borders. Nobody can tell you what to do with it. Nobody can shut you off if you're doing it the right way, if you're holding your own private keys and all that. But that took until Bitcoin reached the top of its S-curve. Look at this chart on the screen right here. See, Bitcoin is a coin that's been around for 13 years now at this point, and quite frankly, the life-changing generational wealth type of gains that came from buying Bitcoin at $1 or $10 or even $100, I gotta say, those days are probably gone. Now, yeah, Bitcoin is still gonna pump. It might do a 4x, a 5x. Maybe if we're lucky in the next bull cycle, Bitcoin will do a 10x. But what I'm trying to explain is that when Bitcoin was at the lower end of its S-curve, all of its value was peak speculation because nobody had realized its utility yet. And as time went on, you could see in this S-curve here, when it reached peak utility and everybody landed on this narrative of, oh, Bitcoin's a store of value, that's great. Borderless, censorship-resistant money, that's great. Well, guess what? Lots of the speculation value is gone. And yeah, the coin is less volatile than, let's say, altcoins, for example, but less volatility and more realized utility, let's say, leads to lower price potential, lower mad gains, and you make less money if you choose something like Bitcoin at the end of the day. This is why when people want to really invest in life-changing gains that crypto has to offer, they turn to altcoins. And that's because we move on the S-curve from speculation value to utility value as adoption grows. So you really shouldn't be concerned with utility, okay? You should be concerned with adoption, because adoption is what allows us to shift that scale from speculative value to peak utility value. But again, if you're investing over here with a coin like Hex, for example, that's only 3 years old, a lot of people don't really understand what Hex is yet. And that's opportunity. That really is opportunity. The best time to invest in Bitcoin was when everybody was calling Bitcoin a scam, when everybody was laughing at Bitcoin or just ignoring it or getting angry about it. And so that's Hex right now. People are still figuring out the utility. And I'm going to tell you what the utility of Hex is in a minute. So stick with me. That's coming right up. But it has to do with the asymmetric information. If you're able to acquire more information than your neighbor and turn that speculation knowledge of what most people think is speculation into the realization of the utility of that coin, you can have the edge because you can have the mindset and kind of see into the future a little bit of where the utility of the coin actually is. And again, how that adoption over time will eventually lead to that utility. If you have that asymmetric information and if you have the balls to invest when nobody else wants to early on in an altcoin, Using Hex as an example, Pulse Chain is another great example. You can buy when others are fearful and sell when others are greedy. And you can buy at the beginning of the S-curve rather than the end of the S-curve. So over time, adoption takes things from speculative value to utility value in cryptocurrency. Now, we can even add another y-axis onto this graph. It's not only adoption that goes up over time from speculation to utility, but it's the value that goes up over time. And again, this is my primary point I'm trying to make here. The value of a coin goes from speculative value to utility value over time along with adoption. So to recap, utility is not what matters. Utility is not what you should be primarily basing your investment thesis on. I mean, yes, something has to have utility. But with altcoins, there's an inherent utility in all of them. Stick with me. You don't really have to worry about utility as much as you might think. You need to worry about adoption. Are people going to invest in this coin? Are there people talking about it? Are there people getting the word out there? Are there YouTubers? Are there social media accounts? Is there a community? See, the community drives adoption much more than the initial utility, especially when most cryptos have the same underlying fundamental utility. What is that utility, you might ask? What utility are we talking about? Well, guys, the utility in crypto, for the vast majority of coins, are really important things, but they're also very simple things, and we need to go back to the basics here. A lot of coins try to add all these fancy bells and whistles on to make their coin more adoptable, but people don't always adopt coins for the utility value alone. That's just a nice little narrative that people like to sprinkle on top. And maybe your coin does something a little bit different than this coin or that coin, but at the end of the day, the utility of things like Hex is the same utility that any good crypto worth its salt has a proven track record of already. And these are obvious things that we're overlooking and forgetting about. I think sometimes we lose the plot. Stores of value. We know Bitcoin walked so that Hex could run. Bitcoin's a store of value. Hex is a store of value. Store of value works. It's been proven. And now we've got a coin with store of value at the top of its S-curve and arguably a better store of value coin at the bottom of its S-curve. What else is a utility of a lot of these good cryptocurrencies? Censorship resistance. Okay, this seems obvious, right? But I can send money to anybody else and not be asked for permission, not have my account shut off. I can go to any jurisdiction in the world with 12 seed words memorized in my head. Nobody can take my money away from me. It's self-sovereign, borderless, permissionless, censorship-resistant money. And finally, you get the financial freedom aspect. The number go up, the self-sovereignty, no middlemen involved. This is why crypto was invented. And this is the niche that Bitcoin is filling, and that Hex is also filling and actually competing for, believe it or not, with Bitcoin for being a better store of value. So what's the utility that Hex has that Bitcoin does not? Well, Hex adds something to Bitcoin that Bitcoin could never do. Bitcoin can't pay you yield. The innovation with Hex was actually trustless yield. It's staking with consequences. It's staking with penalties. With a very, very interesting tokenomics model that if you don't know this already, I highly recommend going into researching the tokenomics behind the Hex share system and everything like that. But your Bitcoin can't earn you money while you sleep. If you want to earn yield on your Bitcoin, you got to give it away to centralized parties like BlockFi, Celsius, Voyager, these companies that go bankrupt all the time and lose all your money. The very same middlemen that Bitcoin was invented to get rid of. Hex can make you yield without trusting a middleman. So trustless yield is a critical innovation. It's a critical utility of Hex. So if anybody asks you, what's the utility of Hex? Well, it's all the good stuff from most cryptos, right? But it's also trustless yield, and we love this. And I think it's going to take some time for this to trickle into the mainstream consciousness and for people to realize how big of a deal this actually is. But guys, we're all in crypto to make money, and like I said earlier, we're all here for the speculation component, right? At the end of the day, the number go up, the speculation, in other words, kind of is a utility in its own way. People only buy this stuff because they think it's going to go up in value in the future because, again, they believe it's a store of value. And then you get other side effects like financial freedom. And you have other utilities on certain coins that help speed this process up. Something like trustless yield. Is it starting to make sense to you now? So to conclude, I want to end with a couple of final thoughts, all right? Utility doesn't make the price pump, adoption does. Utility alone doesn't make the price pump, adoption does. But again, all coins, any good cryptocurrency, any reasonable cryptocurrency, has these inherent utilities of censorship resistance, stores of value. Look at Ethereum. Even Ethereum is a store of value. It went from 31 cents to, over $4,000. That's a pretty dang good store of value over the past, 7 years. But the mad gains in crypto are made when people are still figuring it out. Does that make sense? So again, that has to do with the adoption curve. If you've already figured Hex out, congratulations. If you already understand the future value of Hex and how good things can be in the future, how high Hex can potentially go, well then you're ahead of the curve and you're speculating because a lot of other people don't see that yet. But you might have some realizations about the underlying utility or the underlying value of Hex that a lot of people don't have yet. So while they're still figuring out, the people that have the balls to get in early, that take the risk, those are the people that make the mad gains in any crypto. And speculation is what leads to adoption, much more so than utility, okay? Utility helps because when people realize the utility of censorship resistance, it allows them to, it basically makes it much more easy to speculate. But adoption comes from speculation. People need to believe that one day they can sell these things for more than they bought. And people love to cover this up and they just like to say, oh, I'm in it for the technology or I'm in it for the utility. You're in it to make money, guys. Stop beating around the bush. Be honest with yourself. We're all here in crypto to make money and to one day take some profits. Or hopefully even one day live in a world where we can pay for things easily with crypto and might not even have to take profits. So with more speculation, the price has more potential for exponential growth. Remember that S-curve I showed you earlier? When you're more on the speculation side of that S-curve, you have much more potential for exponential growth. When something's already reached the top of its S-curve, when everybody's realized the utility, then the mad gains are essentially gone, okay? So here's the cycle. People speculate, people think the price is going to go up, they adopt the coin, they realize the utility, they adopt the coin price goes up, they get happy, they tell more people about it, and we know word of mouth is the best advertising. That's just a fact. Google it. Word of mouth is the best advertising. They tell more people about the utility. Other people speculate on the utility. They adopt it. They realize the utility. They tell more people. It's an infinite cycle, right? It's a price-positive feedback loop. So that's what I like to call it, a price-positive feedback loop. And something like Hex, where we've got stakers stake for an average of 7 years on average, right? We've got social media accounts, metrics growing across the board. We've got a really ingenious tokenomics system. It really is a contender for being a better store of value than Bitcoin. Obviously censorship resistant. In Hex, you hold your own keys. It abides by the ethos of crypto, the utility of crypto, getting rid of middlemen, replacing all the products at a bank. That's what I would call a pretty good speculative play because I can see the utility in it. But there's a lot of coins out there that are quite frankly just bad ideas. And they just lean into these utility narratives where they really don't have to. Now, I don't want to call out any coins by name, but when you've been in crypto for 8 years like I have, you see a lot of things come and go. You see a lot of things just quite frankly not work, or they don't require a token, but people slap a token on there anyway, thinking that that's what people care about to make the price go up. So utility alone doesn't just make the price go up. You can't just slap a utility on and say, oh, this is why the price will go up. And a lot of investors fall into this trap saying, oh, what's the utility of the coin? Oh, I like this coin because it's got utility. And then the coin does, maybe a weak little pump in the bull market because everything's pumping. And then it just dies and it never recovers, right? That happens over and over again. A couple examples of bad ideas for utility coins, quote unquote. Slapping a coin onto a VPN service, right? You could use any crypto to pay for a VPN. Why would you want to slap on an additional token? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Tipping, never really caught on. You can tip somebody in any cryptocurrency. Why would you want to make a separate coin just for the utility of tipping? Things like rewards points, gift cards. It's like, you can just buy a gift card with cash, or you can get rewards points. We've had American Airlines or United Airlines rewards points for years. You're not reinventing the wheel by just making it into a cryptocurrency instead. Shopping loyalty points. You can get loyalty points at most retail stores. You don't really need a cryptocurrency for that kind of a thing. And so, although every coin pumps in a bull market, yes, that's true, a lot of these coins that are primarily based and obsessed with their quote-unquote utility value and forgetting about the reason why we're all here, for the number to go up, for the censorship resistance, for the store of value, they're missing the plot. They're missing the plot. So again, my final point to you is don't fall for the utility narrative. Adoption is what matters. Getting the word out there is what matters. Building something with a solid user experience that abides by all the rules of crypto, store of value, censorship resistance, number go up, financial freedom, all that good, tried and true, proven stuff is what you should be looking for. And then you should be looking for, are there people out here that believe in it? Is there a community pushing the narrative forward? That's what really makes the price go up. Fundamentals, community, all that leads to adoption. Slapping a BS utility onto it might feel good, when you're reading an article, but at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of these coins come and go, and I don't want you to fall into that same trap. So I hope this video made sense to you. I hope you learned something. If you're brand new to crypto, I do have a course, hexpassiveincome.com. If you know nothing about crypto at all, that course is for you. Make sure to check it out. Other than that, feel free to join my Patreon if you've got one-on-one questions that you want to ask me, or if you just want more of my personal attention. Maybe you want to collaborate on ideas. The Patreon link is in the description below. And if Hex happens to be your favorite coin like it is mine, make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. All that stuff takes you less than a minute, and it helps Hex go viral, helps drive that adoption up like we just talked about. And what comes after adoption? Guys, price. Price goes up. See you guys on the next one.